Hey everybody, welcome back to Dinosaur Cars Garage. My name's Tim. What we're going to do today, we're going to take you along to Reed's Junkyard in Wittman, Arizona. These junkyard videos seem to have a lot of popularity, and thank you a bunch of you for subscribing due to that. So I'm going to take you to Wittman's Junkyard today in Wittman, and come along for the ride. We'll see what we can find and see what's neat that's left there, and hopefully there's some whole cars and some good stuff to look around and rummage through. Thanks for joining. Looks like we've arrived. Car heaven. If you remember in my last video from Desert Valley Auto Parts in Casa Grande, I talked about how in '58 Ford went from the two-seater Thunderbird to the four-seater. Well, around, I don't know, 66, 67, I think. This year, there's no cheat sheet on this one to find out. Thunderbirds actually went to the four-door for a few years. And look at this one. This one actually has suicide doors, as they call it. So this back door here opened backwards. The glorious Ford Escort. I remember these were everywhere. Almost every turn of the mile you'd see a Ford Escort. And this was the wonderful Escort GT. I thought it was by the front end. 5-speed car. Driven off the lot by a young, happy, probably teenager one day, and now here it sits, Reed's Junkyard, Wittman, Arizona. Mustang 2. V6 car. These two with the Pinto, they were everywhere. Everybody had these. We didn't notice them disappear, but they, little by little, all went way of the dinosaur. Fox body, not sure of the year, but it's got the third tail light, so it's probably 88 on up. Third tail light started in 86. By the side window here, you can definitely tell it's 86 on up, but it's missing the front end, so I'm not sure. Stick shift car, more than likely. This was a sporty model back in the day. This was probably around an 81 or an 82, 83, something like that. See, it's a V8 car, really cut apart. So here's a Ford Granada. Not sure of the year in this one. The Ford Granada essentially replaced the Ford Maverick. Granada started in 75 with 6 cylinders and V8s, and the Maverick ceased production in, I believe, 77. Came in 2 doors and 4 doors. Not sure about the station wagon. This one's picked out pretty good. This is a Buick Century. This is the body style called the colonnade style. Started in 1973. So Buick actually made a few years, I know 73 for sure, maybe 74. They made the Century into the GS yet. So that probably still had the 400 or 455 cubic inch engine. Probably offered with a stick shift, but definitely automatic. I know this shared the same body style as with the Pontiac and the Chevy. I'm sure the Cutlass was the same as well. And then in this body style around 1975 or 76, they offered it in white. I don't know if it was Buick or Pontiac, but I know that they had a bicentennial version. So it was a white car with red and blue stripes on it. As well as Pontiac made a Can-Am style or Can-Am option cars of this body style. Late 70s creeper van. That looks like a 1980s stripe kit. Looks like a crime scene. Probably was a custom van. You can see about shag carpet in there. Wow, Chevy Beretta. Came out in 1987 as the 1988 model year. This looks like it may have an add-on spoiler on the back. I had an 87 GT that I bought new. Had the 2.8 liter V6 with a 5-speed. This is an automatic car. Shared a lot of parts with the Chevy Corsica, which also the Beretta and the Corsica shared a lot of the other parts, underside, frame, well not frame, but because they're unibody, but like axles, drive lines, a lot of interior parts, things like that, brakes, suspension. They shared a lot of it with the Cavalier. So the Corsica was of course a 4-door. Another Beretta here. This spoiler on the back was not factory. Not that I know of. I haven't seen any in my memory that I can remember, but might have been off of a GTU or a GTZ back then, but not sure. Didn't really pay much attention to the Berettas even though I owned them, but I just don't remember them having that wing in the back. Here's the Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme in the colonnade body style. For all of you that don't know or don't care about the Chevy Corvair, here is one. This is probably a 60 or 61 model. I'm pretty sure it came out in 1960 model year. Shared a lot of the flat roof design like the full-bodied cars did in GM of those years. This was a transaxle car, so it had an engine in the rear. This was a stick shift, I believe. Back then these might have been 3 speeds. But if not, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. 4-speed then, but engine was in the rear. Believe they were 6 cylinders, and there was a guy in my high school had one, and it had two barrels on it, so they were kind of like a Volkswagen Bug engine. Here we have a Sea Ray boat and trailer, Merc Cruiser engine, which is just a rebranded Ford in this model. So I don't know what V8 size that is, but it says it's 188 horsepower on the Merc Cruiser sticker over there, and the captain's seat, or the captain's position with no seat, and the throttle and the direction control. It's got its own trailer here. Boat, you know what boat stands for? Bust out another 1,000, or break out another 1,000. Pretty nice looking dash there. Looks like it was a fancy boat back in its day. So, for you guys that may not know, this trailer has what they call tongue brakes. So when this is hooked up to the ball of the tow vehicle, and the tow vehicle applies the brakes, this shaft slides inside this collar part of the trailer, and as it slides and the weight of the trailer pushes against this, it applies hydraulic brakes to the trailer. So back in the days before brake controllers were really popular, this was the thing that to have. A lot of equipment trailers, heavy equipment trailers, have these, or like Ford F350, 450, 550s to pull. That way they all don't need brake controllers. It's all mounted on the trailer, and it works through hydraulics. So the way the trailer pushes against this as the tow vehicle applies its brakes, and it should effectively brake the trailer, as in slow the trailer, not break it as in destroy it, but break it as in slow down. So then the only problem with those was when you tried to back up a hill, it would kind of apply the brakes, so they were sort of difficult to back up at times. The Ford EXP. This shared a lot of the same body parts and doors, fenders, things like that, interior, chassis, driveline as the Escort. So this was sort of like the Beretta and Cavalier trade-off, that they shared a lot of the same parts. So the EXP by Ford shared a lot of the parts with the Ford Escort. Pretty sure these were all hatchbacks, but they were, I think, a two-seater, or if not, the back seats were really small in these, so they were really not family friendly. Can't tell you the last time I seen a Ford EXP. Chevy Citation, another disappointment from the 1970s, late 70s, early 80s. Citations didn't have a very long run year. They made them in 2 doors and 4 doors. I don't know, it's already gotten a lot more time than it deserves, but just for you guys that remember, these cars too were everywhere. Anybody know what that is? Or was? That was a Corvette. Sitting here in Reed's Junkyard in Whitman, Arizona. Another Corvette. This looks like this could be a 84, 85, 86, 87, something like that. Never paid much attention to Corvettes after 72 in my years, but it's all what you like. For you folks who like the equipment, I had to stop and look at this. Old International. L185. Looks like this may have been propane fired. Propane fueled, excuse me. Crane. When truck drivers were men. Imagine sitting on that, working on that all day. I call this part of the machine the house. This is where the engine sat. This has a Hercules in it, gasoline powered. Sat sideways. And then that ran that big series of gears in there. And then those gears would have different teeth and outputs. I wouldn't call them transmissions, but outputs that would go off of these teeth, and that's what would power the cables for the boom and then for the block on the end. Alright, well that concludes our trip today, our video here at Reed's Junkyard in Wittman, Arizona. I don't know what part of the video you might have jumped in or jumped out of or skipped ahead, but anyway, we're in Whitman, Arizona. As I found out, this junkyard has a lot of everything. It doesn't have really very many classics. It's got some old stuff, but it's kind of the unpopular old stuff. You know, big Ford LTDs and Thunderbirds, and you know, the 4-door Thunderbirds, and you know, just some of the off-make stuff. But it's got what they do have is a lot of the middle 80s corporate cars, Dodge Daytonas, and you know, the mid-size and the mid or small size GM cars, you know, up and through the early and mid 90s. So and tons of motorhomes, watercraft, trailers, saw a couple treadmills, there's some lawnmowers, just a lot of everything here. Axles, so if you're going to build a trailer and you maybe want to get a set of axles, give them a try, you know, give them a call and ask. Nice guy, his name's Reed. Give him a buzz. And anyway, thanks for joining. Sorry it was a bit of a disappointment. I'm the one that had to drive here, so it was about 40 miles each way. No big deal. Hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, please subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Helps me out. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and the last one got me a couple hundred. So to you that joined, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll try to find some more junkyards and keep the dinosaur cars theme going alive, and we'll just see if we can keep you interested in the hobby, and maybe get some young people engaged as well. All right, anyway, hope you have a great day. Take care.